Hey, B.
Hello.
Hey, there's Cindy. Hey, how are you?
Okay, thank you so much. I got Anja's email. I was like, I can't believe you guys did that.
Oh, well, wasn't that nice? That was so cool.
Lovely.
Well, you belong. Hey, Tina,
Uh,
how
Hello.
are you? And Matthew.
Hi.
Hey,
hi
Yeah,
guys.
everybody's popping on. I'll introduce Tina when everybody gets on, so we won't have to do it 10 times.
Just 9.
Oh, why
Just
not?
9. What the hell? How many introductions do you want?
Yeah,
There you go.
You were
No.
stuck on the late bus last week, right?
I was on the late bus,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
5
yeah,
years on buses.
I'm sorry, and I didn't want to just like jump in at the end there, and
Your show could have it. It really
I
doesn't,
know.
doesn't
Well,
matter at all.
I enjoyed watching I watched the class.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it, and I could do it when I could get the whole gist of what was happening. So yeah.
Yeah, listen, which is your real email, the Gmail or the Verizon?
I check the Verizon more often, but that's but I get to Gmail. It's just send it to Verizon if you can.
Well, I usually send it to both.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep doing that. That's okay.
Mhm.
Good. All right, let's see. I was just waiting for 3 more. So hang on a second. I might as well introduce everybody. This is Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
And down there at the
Hi.
bottom is Matthew. Matthew, wave your hand. Yes,
Yes.
Matthew. Yes, Matthew.
Our bad lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, our bad lawyer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You watched last week, and then there's
Yeah.
Cindy. Cindy's
Mhm,
right above
yeah.
there, and then
The
Basil.
disgruntled mom, the poor
Yes,
mom with the
that's
poor
great.
son.
Yeah.
Great,
And then-
Matthew.
Yeah,
I sent Tina the same side that you have from that episode of Bones that we're going to run through tonight. So she'll read opposite you.
Me?
Yeah, no, Tina. I sent it to her. I found Matthew was looking for clips from
Oh.
TV shows, and I found one, and I sent it to Matthew to start to work on, and then I also sent the other one so Tina could be the reader.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, it's good. It's creepy. It's good. Do you like it, Matthew?
I love it.
Yeah, great. Cool. You think it's right for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I really do too.
And the funny thing is, like, I'm obsessed. I read so many nonfiction detective homicide books.
Oh, you do. Oh, so you're obsessed by that.
Well, I like, and I really know what they like to interview and how they think. And
Right, right. Good. Well, good. It's nice that you're going to meet Tina and start to work with her too, because Matthew writes absurd plays and you have an absurd theater company. So there
Oh,
you go.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right,
Told us about you last week.
You're right.
Oh,
That you
Exactly.
only do absurd plays at your theater company.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, we sort of really delve into the great absurdists, but also the more surreal aspects of, say, Williams, or kind of some of the playwrights that sort of dabbled out in that space. Maybe
Uh-huh.
not as their primary voice, but yeah.
Have
So-
you ever done any Durang?
Oh my gosh, yes, we just did. In fact, I have a little monologue that I'm gonna work on in here that I've actually already done, but I want to revisit it from Betty's Summer Vacation, which is the last show we did of his.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's a favorite.
Oh, good. Good. Well, he's a
Yeah.
Philadelphian too.
Well, I know. Do you know that I talked to him on the phone very recently?
How
Not
great.
maybe a year or so ago. Yeah, I had this interview show, and I really wanted him to come on. And anyway, long story short, lovely man.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Is he still writing? Because he really hasn't written anything since that Chekhov send up
Masha
that
and
yeah,
so,
Masha's-
yeah. That's a great question. We didn't get quite that far in the conversation, and I haven't seen anything new, so I'm guessing maybe not. But over the years, we had sort of been in contact because we had done a lot of his one acts, and I was
Right.
really just he lives close, so of course I was invited in. But he was teaching up at Juilliard or somewhere in New York, and then
I'm sure.
yeah.
Good.
I don't know if he's writing.
Okay. I heard some bells, but I didn't see any other faces. Is anybody else on? Julia, Catalina, Leora, are you there? just not showing yourselves? Oh my.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, who's that? It sounds like
Julia,
Julia.
it's Julia.
Julia, put your face on the screen.
I'm trying. I'm having technical difficulties here.
Isn't it in the lower left-hand corner of your screen where it says?
Yes, but
Has her video been muted somewhere?
what can I say? I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Tell
Okay,
Vasily.
well, I can't get on the screen. I'm on my iPad.
Uh-huh.
But I'm really suffering here. I don't know why I can't get on.
Were you on your iPad last week?
What?
Oh,
Oh,
well,
there.
there you are.
Oh, there I am.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
How
Good.
did that happen? Oh,
don't-
there. Okay, that's my phone. Now I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay. All right. You don't have your computer so we can get like a
Wait a
full-
minute, just a minute.
There's Leora. Hey, how are you?
yeah.
Good to see
Oh.
you. Good.
I'm trying to get I'm gonna close this.
Okay.
Oh, but why is it there?
It looks like an episode. What was that horror movie they
'Cause I
filmed it in
can't
the
hear.
woods? What was that?
What?
You know what I'm saying? I said the way the screen's moving, it looks like that horror movie that was shot in the woods of
The
Pennsylvania.
Blair Witch Project.
The Blair Witch Project. Yes. It had that same feel to it, you know.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That's exactly
people running
it.
out of there throwing up from the theater because they were getting seasick.
Right. Well,
I was
thank you.
in that. No one recognized me.
Thank you for getting that joke right away. I'm going to give Catalina a call real quick just to see if she's okay, and then we'll get started. Talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know what I'm gonna do here,
1995.
Mumble.
Uh-huh.
because I can't get volume or anything.
Well, you're fine. I mean,
I know, but I can't hear you guys.
Oh.
And I can't hear myself. What a nightmare.
yeah.
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Right, exactly. It's like a Sex in the City episode.
Oh,
Hey, Catalina, it's Bill Roudebush, just calling to see if you're having any problems getting on the link or whatever. It's the same link as last week. If there are any problems, call me immediately. I have my phone on as I always do during class. So let me know. Looking forward to seeing you. Bye.
Julia, are you running computer too?
What's that?
It seems like Julia running an iPad and at the same time a computer. It means that it's going to create a feedback.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you getting feedback from
your
me?
phone on?
No, actually, Julia, you're fine. I mean, your picture doesn't take up the whole screen, but you're fine because.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm on my phone and
That's-
I'm on my iPad.
Yeah, well, it's working. I mean, I think it's the phone that's working, right?
I did class
Probably the
on my
phone.
phone
Should
for
I-
a long time.
Yeah.
Until
Should I
finally
close
got
my
a laptop.
iPad?
Yeah, try closing your iPad, see what happens.
Yeah, well, it's much better to use one device instead of two, because I mean, eventually it's going to create a feedback or echo or something.
Okay, now I'm just on my phone, but I still
Okay.
can't hear now on the phone.
You can't hear us? I guess that's the answer. You can't hear us, huh?
No, I don't understand why.
Could you hear us when you had your iPad on?
No, I couldn't hear. I
Okay.
don't know what's going on.
You don't have, were you on a computer last week, Julia? Now you're just muted. Go down and we can see the mute button. There's a, unmute yourself.
See, that's confusing because she's answering you, but she says she can't hear you. How does that work?
I didn't want to ask.
She's a psychic. She can read lips. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, now we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Well, she's muted still.
Yeah. Shit. Okay,
Oh, we don't hear you.
no.
Maybe she needs to restart the thing, the iPad and try it again.
Can you hear us? Put your thumb up if you can hear us. You can hear us? So what, Vasily, what do you suggest?
Well, she needs to unmute herself. I mean, she has to click on the display and on the lower bar, everything will come up. There will be a mic on the side on the lower button.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yay. All right, good. Let's,
It's in the log row.
okay, good news. All right, well, welcome, everybody. I don't know what's going on with Catalina. Her phone, her machine picked up, so. The only one, Leora, meet Tina. Tina, wave your hand. Tina wasn't here last week. That's Leora. And down there, there you go. That's Julia.
Hello.
Julia's in California. We're all over the place in this class. So here we go. All right. So let's see what we're going to work. Cindy and Vasily, you're going to continue working on that piece from Torch Song, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you've got anything monologue wise you think would be good for me, throw it at me. Because the other thing I could think of would be going after some of this lady's speeches, but I'm already doing her. So.
Yeah. Cindy, and I just want to mention this to all of you, I mean, finding good material for yourselves to work on should be a continuing project for you guys. Meaning that whenever you see something on TV or you see a play or read a really good novel of something that you really connect to, you should write it on a card, what it was and when you saw it and how you can get access to it again, so that you start to build up a treasury of things that you like from things that you've seen. I don't mind picking stuff out for you guys, but it's, I'm limited, to the things that I've experienced and my library, my tiny little library of plays here. So I'm just saying, you guys always need to be on the lookout. I will look out for something for you, Cindy, but it's so much better when you guys can take the time to look it up and to find it yourself, because then it's coming from you, and that's always the
Oh,
best.
I do look. Just right now, nothing was jumping out at me.
There you go. So anyway, okay, good. You guys are do you have anything else you're gonna work on, Vasily? I know Cindy. Yeah.
Since we started with the songs, the Torch Song trilogy, and at the same time I started thinking this week about the opening monologue from the same piece.
International stud.
In International Stud. So, but the monologue itself is really big.
Yeah.
It's about like 2-3 pages or so.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I haven't, because I was thinking about it, but I haven't tried it. I mean, I tried to read a little bit today, but I don't think I'm going to do it today in the class. I need to think about it and what part and how to edit it.
Yeah, I would do a section of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to do it just, I started reading for myself and I realized, oh my God, this is too much.
Yeah. Again, I think we're always better off working on something that's shorter. So that we can get a lot of repetitions of it and we can really make progress. When something's really long, we can make progress. You just don't get as many reps. And for me, at least from my limited experience, repetition is what it's all about. The more you repeat it, the more it becomes part of you. The more it becomes part of you, all of those things just work together. So anyway, that would be okay. That's great. Tina, what did you bring to work on tonight? I can't wait to see.
I have a couple pretty short monologues I'm working on. One is one of Linda Lohman's from Death of a Salesman, and then Mrs. Seismograph, a part of Mrs. Seismograph's monologue from Betty's Summer Vacation, which is the Christopher Durang play.
Oh, great, good. All right, super duper. And Matthew, we're going to work on that side, the bone side tonight. That's your issue tonight, right? And do you want to are you off book on your Trust Bob Trust monologue, his introduction monologue?
Well, you wanted me to change it. You like the other version better, so
No. I told you in the note. You don't really read my notes, do you? I told you in the note that the Bob Trust ad was good, and that's all good. That's just a 30-second ad that will be sort of the premise of, or the masthead of this whole series of things that you're going to put out, right? This is sort of the masthead, right?
Yeah,
Do you know it or not?
yeah.
Oh, okay, good. All right, good. All right. So we can play around with that tonight if you want to as well. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. Leora, we really started working on something really good last week for you and made some progress with it. Is that what you're going to stick with this week? Remind me what it was.
You're muted.
Sorry, I know, I always forget. I'm always, it was a monologue from Network,
Oh, God, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great,
Wife.
great. The wife. yeah,
The Wife.
Good. And Julia, so unfortunately, can you turn your camera the other way? There we go.
It's really, what?
Okay.
You look very good sideways, but even better right side up.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right. You just always keep improving. So are
Right.
you going to continue to work on that Mark Twain piece tonight? Is that your
Yeah,
goal?
yes, that's my goal.
Okay, great. Is there anything now? This is the other thing. Since you all got the playback, and I assume some of you watched it, some people don't. From those of you who watched it, did you have any questions or concerns or anything that you wanted to bring up that you learned from the watching the playback about yourself or whatever? Okay, all right. So I would keep watching those things, and if you have a note or a question about it, then write it down. And it's always great. I love a few questions every now and then. Confusion is always fun to try to unravel. So we'll go from there. So Matthew's still having horrible back problems. He had a back surgery about 8 weeks ago and it didn't take. And so he has really bad back pain. So I'm going to let Matthew go first tonight again, if that's all right with you guys. And then we will move along. And then if he gets in a lot of pain, then he can just exit because he's already done his work. Yeah, Leora.
just quick, Bill, last night was the first preview of the minutes, the Tracy Letts piece.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And I went to see it with a friend,
yes.
and I really, really want you to see it because I really want to know what you'll have to say about it.
I already saw it. I saw it. I saw the second preview that closed before the pandemic came down.
Oh, I didn't even know that it was in
It was up.
preview then. Oh,
Yeah.
what did you think? Can you just say quickly, or you don't want to
Yes.
take time right now?
Yes, I absolutely hated it. I thought it had an ending that was not deserved at all. I thought the ending was just for shock purposes. I didn't think that it was just a very I mean, it was fine all the way. It was an interesting piece. And then all of a sudden, at the very end of the play, this crazy thing happens that there's just no, it just isn't in the play. It just annoyed, it just really, I felt manipulated and, just like stupid, and I love Tracy Letts' writing. I think he's a brilliant writer. But I just felt it was, what did you think?
Pretty much the same. One thing that struck me was I was with a girlfriend and everyone was laughing a lot, and we didn't laugh once. I just didn't find it. Maybe it's just not my kind of humor, but
Well, it's sort of boardroom humor. That's basically what it is. I mean, this is the thing. 3/4 of the play is like a meeting, a town hall meeting with all
Right.
with all the people there, and then the last, well, I couldn't even say quarter. The last
yeah,
5% of the play is something else. So I don't want to tell you what it is
right.
because I don't want to ruin it for you. But yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Austin was in the play. How did Austin do?
He did great. I didn't even realize it was him. I got there right before curtain, so I couldn't even look over the, I
Yeah.
was going to say the guest list, the actors.
Yeah.
And when it was over, I saw that it was him. I was like, oh my God, he's good. He was fine. The acting was fine. The
Oh,
acting
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
the acting was great. The
I
acting was,
agree.
I mean, it was fine. But it was just so, I also felt it was a little bit of a cliche. Like, let's take a, really hot topic, politically, explosive, and let's present it to the audience and let's show the moral thing to do, and then let's show the immoral thing to do, and let the audience go home and talk about it. I don't know,
Yeah.
there was something about it that didn't,
Well, the immoral thing to do was just so inappropriately shocking. It was ridiculous.
right.
So there you go. So if
Thank you.
y'all run on out to see it.
Yeah, right. Now that we've trashed it.
We are actually talking about Funny Girl about a half hour ago because Vasily and John saw it.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And-
was it good?
I loved it, honestly, but I wasn't very happy with the singing very much.
Oh,
She-
okay.
But I think
That's never really a good thing to say about a musical. It was great except for the singing.
Well, her
But I
singing.
think I really like her acting. The who played Fanny.
Uh-huh.
Beanie
Right.
Beanie.
And her sense of humor, a sense of comedy was very good.
Oh,
actually.
well, that's good. She was playing a very funny lady.
Except that she sounds like she's 10 when she sings. So,
Yeah.
and next to Carmen, what's his name? Raman Karamu, in the Six Probe, she looked like his kid's sister or his daughter. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I lost a job at the Walnut Street Theater to direct that show because I wouldn't do it with the lady they wanted me to do it with, because she'd done the role 4 times before, and I just did not want to work with a star who had done the thing 4 times before. And she wasn't that big of a star. It was the woman who played Zeidel in the original film of Fiddler on the Roof. I forget
Oh.
what her name was. But I wanted him to, because he,
Rosalind Harris, is it?
yeah, that might be something. Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, I really wanted Andrea Martin at the time to do it because she looked like Fanny. She looks like Fanny Bryce, and she's a consummate comedian. So, but I lost a great gig because I stuck to my guns on it. Just can't believe that. Don't do that. Just take the job. It was a lot of money. I want that
my
money now. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with Matthew, and Tina and Matthew stay on, and let's just do a first read of this this scene from the TV show Bones. Yeah, is it possible for you to click off and on, Julia? All you gotta do is on that bottom thing, there's a video right where the mute and the unmute was.
Let's see, stop video.
There we go. We'll be calling you back soon. All right, here we go. Anytime you want to start.
Low temperance.
Helen,
Let's talk.
that goes off, it'll kill you too.
You and I are destined to die together someday. Hope not today, but that's up to you. It's just going to remind you that, I just want to remind you that you're a mother, so self-sacrifice isn't the best option. Plus, who's ever right above us will also die.
That's a public area.
Yeah. Is it? Well, what do you think happened? What do you think happened to poor Chloe Campbell?
I think you killed her.
It wasn't me.
You know who did it.
The same person who did 1-870-360-64005-7932 and 9224.
No, that's not possible. I wouldn't have missed that.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. They were found in different geographical locations, killed in completely different methods, different ages, nothing to connect them, and yet they were all killed by one person.
Who?
Well, I don't know yet, but because I'm better than you and all your sequence, I will figure out who the killer is. I think she's pretty bad. And I think she's, still out there.
She?
Well, I'm being sloppily generic, but I have my reasons for thinking she's a woman. And if anything happens to me, she'll keep doing what she's doing, and you won't even know she's there. I know you'll find me. It's in the stars. Don't move until that beam goes off. Think about all those innocent lives you'll be saving just by doing absolutely nothing.
Great. Well, that was appropriately creepy, Matthew. Thank you. That was great. One of the things that makes it creepy, the creepy is the result, but the process is the sense of the character's enjoyment of the situation. That's what really makes it work. I mean, and that was your first take on that, and it's a correct take. It's absolutely a correct take. You should have a great time because you're totally in power here. So, which is actually what the character craves. He's in a situation that he loves the most. Somebody else's life is in his hands. There's just a great sense of that. The only thing that I'd like you to try to add to it this time through, Matthew, is don't lay back in it. Sort of push it forward, push your agenda forward, because it's the excitement of getting to the next stage that I think might even be more interesting, not just in the stage that you're at, but actually that it's you trying to move it. Now you got her in this place, you got her here. Now can I get her to the next place? Now can I get her to the next place? So that, again, to break it down into my in the moment language is in the moment, what's happening to you what's happening to you emotionally that you have no control over, is that you are in a situation that you love more than anything else in your life. That's what's happening to you emotionally that you have no control over. And what you're doing to survive that situation is seeing if you can enjoy yourself even more by pushing somebody else's buttons. How can I take this feeling? Because, surviving something else, you think of survival only in bad situations most of the time, but survival, we have to survive great situations. Look at just, the famous Will Smith slap, that's how he survived the greatest moment in potential in his life, is that he went off the rails and did something how do we react to incredible positive? We have to survive positive energy as well. And I think your survival technique is to see how much further you can push her fear. That's what good. And Tina, this is interesting for you too, is because along with your strength, which is really your intellect, you also have a real self-confidence strength. You seem quite self-confident, and in this character's situation is what's happening to her emotionally that she has no control over, is that she really is probably scared to death that this guy's going to blow them all to smithereens. But she knows the only way to survive this from her experience is to not show it. Right? So you're not showing it. I didn't see that you were showing it all, but I also didn't necessarily feel that it was there, that the real fear was there, so that it has to kick in. It's sort of, some people operate really well under pressure, and I think your character does.
Okay.
And some people do not operate well under pressure. And So that's what I want you to try to explore. This
Yeah,
is-
gotcha.
all
Mhm.
right? Does that make sense to you, Matthew? You on page with this? Let's give it a try. You have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
One is I was thinking like, what do I want? And what are the stakes? And one of the things is having the grenade there. I've won before the scene even.
That's what I mean. You're in the ultimate situation. He pulls the pin on a grenade and holds it during this whole scene. So you're in the most powerful position that you can be in. And how can I make it even better? You know, I don't think you necessarily have to think of this moment as a stake. I think the character has to look at this moment as a real opportunity to feel something that he loves to feel. You know, all of that stuff that you're talking about, the stakes and all that stuff, is much more writing language than acting language. It is, hold on 2 seconds. This is not Catalina. Okay, good.
That's me, I'm not here.
Okay. Anyway, in other words, all the stuff, you know, you could go back and analyze what the stakes are for the character based on the scope of the whole play. And that's all research and character work and stuff that you have to do. But what I'm talking about, what I want you to focus on is, what do you have to do when you have to engage it? And that's a completely different thing. That's what's happening to me right now. And what am I going to do to survive? Those are the two simple terms. All that other stuff is past history. That's all character work. And that's great. You know, it's great that you would understand that and have a psychology, but it has nothing to do with the moment that you're in right now. The moment you're in right now is like somebody lights a fuse to a bomb who loves to watch bombs go off. You know what I mean? That's the moment you're in emotionally. It's like really, it's an incredible amount of emotion running through the character. And what he's got to do is to try to channel that emotion into doing something even greater, into having even more fun that he's feeling right now.
Okay, the last thing is, I think that what I'm doing is I want to be a suspect.
Mhm.
There's no way after this scene that the police are not going to be after me to arrest me.
Well, of course, you're challenging the person to make you a suspect. You know, you're tweaking her. You're pushing that. That's part of your joy. That's part of your joy. If you live through this, whatever. You know, again, really an exciting.
I thought I have to assume so far the police have not suspected me, and it's disappointed me intensely because I love the game and I love.
Absolutely. And to me, it doesn't matter what point the police are at, is when you have an opportunity like this, where you've just pulled the pin on a grenade. That's really a finite opportunity, right? I don't want you to necessarily think of anything bigger than the biggest event that's just happened to you is pulling that pin and just going, okay, I got your life in your hands. Now let me fuck around with you. This is great. This is what I love. This is what I do.
Okay.
Okay. And you want to move those issues forward. You don't want to lay back in them. That's what I want you to play with. Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Hello, Temperance.
Ellen,
Let's talk. You want to talk?
if that goes off, it's going to kill you too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you and I are destined to die together. It's just someday, and I hope not today, but that's up to you. But I'm just going to remind you that you're a mother, so self-sacrifice isn't like your best option. Plus, who's ever right above us, will also die.
That's a public area.
Oh, is it? Ah. Oh. what do you think happened to poor Chloe Campbell?
I think you killed her.
What? No, wasn't me.
You know who did it.
Well, same person who did 1-870-364-007932 and 9224.
No, that's not possible. I wouldn't have missed it.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. They were found in different geographic locations, killed in completely different manners and methods, and they're different ages and different methods. There's nothing to connect them, and yet they were all killed by the same person.
Who?
I don't know. Yeah. Because I'm better than you. And all your sequence. I will figure out who the killer is. I think she's pretty bad. And I think she's still out there.
She?
Well, I mean, sloppily generic, but I have reasons for thinking she's a woman, and if anything happens to me, and she keeps doing what she's doing, and you don't even know she's there. I know you'll find me, but because that's in the stars.
Good, Matthew. You started out exactly the way I wanted you to go with this, and then as you got toward the end, it just slowed down to the point. You know, that's the real trick about doing creepy. You know what I mean? That's the real trick. Is if you sit in the creepy too long, it becomes a manipulation. If you know, you don't have to worry about sitting, and I completely believe that you're nuts. You know, I mean, you got me from, no, I swear to God, Matthew, you got me from square one on that case. Now, what I want you to do is to play the activity of him, which is always upping the stakes, always upping the ideas, always moving that along, always using that. So, oh, no, you're wrong. You know, and you have to know it better than she does. When you get to the factual information about the other mystery of this scene toward the end of the scene, you've got to know that like so well. You know, that's the whole point is, and that information just comes right at me because you've already established, God, you know, it's so right for you. This is going to be such a great taping for your reel when we get this ready. It's a perfect character for you to play. I totally believe it in you, but you're wallowing in it at the end, and it's horrible.
I do not wallow.
You do wallow. You do wallow. What you've got to do is to take what's working and move it along. You know, just like you did it. You'll see in the playback. You'll see the difference, Matthew. At the very beginning of that, it was so much better. So much. Oh my God. Oh, and once you have me in that space, then you don't want to linger in it to reveal that you're manipulating me. What you want to do is grab me and carry me forward and surprise me at every second. That's the key. That's the key. Tina, you had a line up there that it's a public area, right? She has a character.
That's a public. Mhm.
I think that's the place where a real fear or sense of protection needs to sort of come out. Is like, all right, you can kill me, but that's a fucking public area up, right up.
Yeah.
And I think that's an opportunity for that character. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm so fucking popular tonight. It never happens. It's not. I keep hoping it's going to be Catalina. There's another student we have, Tina, named Catalina.
Oh, yeah, I saw her in the tape. Yeah.
She's in California. Anyway, yeah. So does that make sense to you, Tina?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I need to feed my lines to you quicker. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I mean, also Matthew had a line at the very beginning that said, well, what's the first couple of lines? Do the first couple of lines.
Hello, Temperance.
Keep going.
Helen,
Let's talk.
if that goes off, it'll kill you too.
You and I are destined to die together someday.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's the line you dropped was you. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's why, because I was wondering why when Matthew's character said, let's talk, that he had the next line and it didn't pick it up quicker, but that was a line that you dropped in there. Okay, cool. All right, let's try it one more time. All right. And I know you don't know it real well, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about the character, Matthew. You've got the character. Work on trying to push the situation along. Work on trying to raise the stakes for the character's own enjoyment. Let's go a little further. Let's go. And when you know you're right, you know what you're talking about. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Here we
Okay.
go.
Hello, Temperance.
Helen,
Let's talk.
if that goes off, it'll kill you too.
Well, you and I are destined to die together someday. Hope not today, but that's, up to you. I'm just going to remind you that you're a mother, so self-sacrifice isn't your best option. Plus, who's ever right above us will die.
Good. I want to go back. Okay, good. So here's the thing is, Tina, you need to pick up that line. If that thing doesn't go off, that you need to pick that up right away. Right.
If that goes off, it'll kill you too.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I just not let's just I should just close up. Don't bother to notice the grenade. Just have it be.
Well,
thing.
let's just assume that Matthew pulls the pin before he starts.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Because to me, that's what I want is that sense of pulling the pin, Matthew. And now it's just like giving myself an injection of heroin. This is going to be so much fucking fun. I can't wait. This is going to be pull the pin. I can't wait. And don't think about anything else but the joy that's about to come, because you've just injected yourself with the drug that really works best for you. All right, here we go. Start at one.
I have no familiarity with drugs.
Huh? Don't get me started. All right, here we go.
Hello, Temperance.
Helen,
Let's talk.
if that goes off, it'll kill you too.
You and I are destined to die together someday. Hope not today, but that's up to you. I'm just going to remind you that you're a mother, so self-sacrifice really isn't in your best interest.
Good. I want to go back. See, Matthew, last time when you said you and I are about to die together, what you did was you took that negative situation and you turned it around in your behalf. As she says, if that thing goes off, both of us are going to die. And you go, oh, wow. Yeah, well, both of us are supposed to die together. So that's really cool. Right. In other words, see what I mean? Is that's the enjoyment that I'm saying. There's nothing that she can't say that you can't turn around and get enjoyment out of.
Got it.
All right, here we go. And that's what it's all about for you, is that momentary thrill. It's the thrill of the moment, which is so cool. That's what makes the scene so great. All right, here we go.
Hello, Temperance.
Helen,
Let's talk.
if that goes off, it'll kill you too.
You and I are destined to die together someday. I would just, I hope it's not today, but that's really up to you. I just like to remind you that because you're a mother, self-sacrifice really isn't in your best interest. Not to mention, plus, who's ever right above us will also die.
That's a public area.
Oh, is it?
Good.
Well, so what do you think happened to our poor Chloe Campbell?
I think you killed her.
Me? No, no, it wasn't me.
You know who did it.
St. Pearson, who did 1-870-360-640057932 and 9224.
Yeah, that's not possible. I wouldn't have missed it.
Oh, don't be too hard on yourself. They were found in different locations and geographical locations, and they were killed in completely different ways and methods, and there were different ages, and there's nothing connecting them, and yet they were all killed by one person.
Who?
I don't know yet. But because I'm better than you, I'm gonna find out. And all your sequins, I will figure out who the killer is. And I think that she's pretty bad. And I think she's still out there.
She?
Well, I'm being sloppily generic, but I have my reasons for thinking she's a woman. And if anything happens to me, she'll keep doing what she's doing, and you won't even know she's there. I know you'll find me. It's in the stars.
Good.
Don't move until that beam goes off. Just, think about all the innocent lives you'll be saving just by doing absolutely nothing.
Good. Yeah. So Matthew, that's what you still have to work on. We'll record it next week once you have a chance to work on this week. But again, from that point where you go, oh, the same person killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 6, that series of numbers. From that point on, that's where you know more than she does. I mean, you remember how many digits is that one number? It must be like 12 digits, 14 digits or something, right? And I know that's the right number, you know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is that's a real indication that you knock that off like you really know it, and you knock all that other information like you're 2 steps ahead of her. That's the other exciting part. And then you just leave her there with that thought, saying that, well, if you move, everybody else upstairs is going to blow up, which is what you were worried about. It was great. It's coming along, but you've really got to work from that point to the end of the piece. And then I think we'll have a terrific piece to put on tape. You like it, right?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
When I read it, I thought, wow, this is like perfect.
Good. Tina, so much better on that.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah. Did you feel that? I mean, all the time you've got to feel like, well, this could pretty much be the end, but
Yeah.
and there's also the case too, where certain people in certain professions are really not really afraid of dying. But I think the idea is the greater concern. And I think that's the real fear for you, is if he does blow it up, it's a public area right above.
Yeah.
And so you're modifying your behavior to save those others' lives, and so I think that's really what's at stake here, not necessarily your life as much as everybody else's lives, which you're sworn to protect.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
He also drops the mother line too, which is
Yeah.
a big one.
And Matthew, do you feel this too? I mean, it feels like a little psycho character, I mean, I think he could be a man. He could dress up like a woman who goes out and kills it. You're thinking all of that too. Are you thinking that you're those people too? All those people that maybe you're several personalities and all these different people? It could be them. It could be them. It could be them. But really, all of them are you. Do you think it's that?
Oh, that hadn't occurred to me.
Yeah. Well, play with that idea as well.
Oh, okay.
Right. I think it makes perfect sense to somebody who doesn't have any sense. Right? Because he knows the details so well, because he's the one who in fact creates some of the details. So anyway, think about that.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Again, what you want to try to do, what's always going to make these short sides work better, are real specific decisions that involve lines that are really there, that sort of scream it. That 14-digit identification number is what screamed it to me, is he knows that number, he knocks that fucking number off, and from then on he's 3 beats ahead of her. And then he just leaves her there. He has to leave her being ahead of her, and then leaves her with that timer and walks out of the room. It's really powerful.
Well, not that it really matters.
Okay.
But when these guys are interviewed, they usually are bragging.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
relive their crimes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it gets them more and more excited.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is. And again, if you play with that idea that you're all of the people that might have been the murderer, then that also brings up another interesting aspect of sort of a schizophrenic personality.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, cool. Come on back, everybody. I heard some bells. Maybe Catalina's with us now.
But I heard somebody go off too.
It was
Yeah.
me. It was me. I was from my phone.
Oh,
Oh.
okay, good. All right, good. I also heard some dishes in the background too, so I don't know where that came from. Anyway, any comments about what you guys just saw on this little side? What is
Creepy. He's John Hinckley. I'm waiting for him to pull out Jodie Foster's picture, you know?
Matthew, that's a compliment. So that's
Yes, it
great.
is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there
Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys see what I mean about the rhythm of it, though? In other words, once you establish who you are in the context of the scene, the only way you can possibly make it creepier is being 6 beats ahead of the person that you're really trying to creep out. In other words, that rhythm is his greatest tool once he establishes his craziness, which he does instantly. You know, it just because Matthew has this sense of inner joy to his situation. You know, that's what makes it. That's what makes being a villain so wonderful, is that you can have such a good time at it. Always, if you ever get a villainous character, please take it. It's like the best thing you can possibly do, because you can say things and do things you never did before, but you always have a good time.
Well, my dream casting is to be cast as the killer, although I don't think they will.
Well, I know.
Oh, you never know.
No, that's exactly. Well, if somebody saw that, if somebody sees this piece and they're looking for that character, I don't know how they could say no to you. What were you going to say, Cindy?
Some people that I've taken workshops with have said in the past that you shouldn't audition with a crazy character because they don't know if you're a good actor or just nuts.
Well, that's the point of having two pieces. In other words, if he would give, we're going to find another piece for him where I want to try to find a piece where he's playing something that's not creepy, but also something that's not centered, something that's off-centered in a different way, not in a creepy way, maybe in a really positive way. You know?
Maybe a comedy?
Maybe a comedy. Yeah. Well, this is pretty funny. Yeah, absolutely a comedy. Yeah. But we want to try to stick to those TV scripts, right, Matthew? Isn't that what you want?
Law and Order, SVU,
Yeah,
FBI, Blue Bloods.
Yeah. So you work on this one this week, and then we will try to find you one. I'm going to try to find one that will contrast this. But that's exactly right, is in creating a reel that he wants to, he just shouldn't have a bunch of crazy people. Then everyone would just think he's really crazy.
I just wanted to say that it was really interesting as you kept doing it, that Tina, your face was incredibly still,
Mhm.
and just those lines were coming out. And then Matthew, your face, your mouth kept like getting more and more elastic, and your face was getting more elastic as you spoke. It was a really interesting contrast watching the two of you.
It was really good. Good work, both of you.
I took those elastic pills.
It's good for stretching too. You know, all this stuff. All right. Okay, good. So let's go to
Thank you.
thank you, Matthew. Stay on as long as your back can take it, and we'll go from there.
That was like an hour ago.
I know. Okay. Love you, honey. Thank you so much. Really good work tonight. Really good work. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to Tina. Well,
Oh,
no,
really?
no, Tina just worked. Let's
I
go
just
to-
worked, yeah.
Yeah. But we weren't 100% focusing on you. You were
That's all right.
Yeah, you were
I can take a rest.
okay. Good. So let's go with Julia.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Okay.
no. This is my great acting class. I say, okay, it's your turn. Everybody goes, oh. No.
Oh, what?
No.
I'm not off the page yet on this.
Okay, well, do you think I'm going to beat you up for that? You don't have to worry about it.
No, but I felt really bad about that.
Well, let me tell you something, right? Here's the deal. This is what I believe about learning. And it's not necessarily a belief. It's actually sort of based on scientific principles. You're so much better off if you're working on something to work on it 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week. Just 10 minutes. So what you're doing, that you're touching it every day between the beginning of the class and the end of the class. What never works is that you know it's coming and you work on it maybe once in the middle of the week and then once right before we come on. Because what that does is it brings an incredible consciousness of you knowing that you should have worked harder to the piece, and you start beating yourself up even before you begin to work. And the whole premise of what I'm trying to teach, Julia, is a joyful approach to what you're doing. So what I'm saying is, if you didn't have time, just make 10 minutes for yourself every day at the same time and just do it. And if you're worried that you can't get the whole thing done, then just work on the first half of it. So that what we can do is work on an area that is tighter. We can go back, as I said before, we can get many repetitions on that. So
Right.
don't beat yourself up about that. We can make progress every week. But I'm telling you, the best way to study is if you're going to spend an hour a week studying, it's 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week. That's the best study.
Right. Okay. I hear you.
Yeah, it's just like it's like exercise. It's
Yeah.
the same thing as exercise.
Exactly.
It hurts if you only work out 1 day a week. Every day, that 1 day hurts like hell. And the only way to
Especially
make
the
it,
day after.
yeah, you're right. The day
Oh,
after too.
God.
Yeah. Well, it actually hurts the day of, because the whole reason you didn't do it the 6 other days is because you hate doing it anyway. So you get hurt on the front end and the back end, which is I don't even want to talk about that. Okay, so let's see where you are this week with the piece. What, have you worked on it at all this week?
Oh, yes, I have. I have absolutely worked on it. Yes.
And tell me what you remember from last week and what you're trying to accomplish with it this week.
Okay, well, what I remembered from last week, you mean in regards to,
What we worked on last week and what? Yeah.
Well, okay, then what I'm trying to integrate about this is I'm alone here in the garden,
Yes.
and
Other than your pet snake and
other
your,
than my pet snake and my tigers and every
Yeah.
other thing there.
yeah.
And now suddenly I see, and I think I'm an experiment. I don't know exactly what that is,
Yes.
but now I see another one.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of intrigued by this new development.
Right. So what's happening to you emotionally that you have no control over? You're confused about your surroundings and your existence.
Right.
And what you're trying to do to survive your confusion is to investigate.
Right. And that's what I do most of the time,
Right.
as I'm investigating. So
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. She doesn't label a lion or a bird. She calls birds flyers, and she calls fish swimmers, and she calls lions roarers and stuff like that, I think.
yeah, she does, but she also does call them by their names.
Oh, does
Like,
she? Oh, okay.
she has the ability, in fact, she makes a comment at some point in the, I've got two sounds going on. Let me try that. I don't know what to do.
Okay. What is that? What's the matter?
It was the iPad talking
Okay.
to also. I'm trying to
Oh,
get rid of.
shit.
I
Okay.
know, I'm surrounded by my own voice now. I can hear it coming off this. But no, she says, that she knows what all these things are.
Yeah.
And that he, on the other hand, who she kind of refers to, as adult, doesn't know what they are.
Yeah.
So she's naming everything. She sees a dodo, she knows it's a dodo. She
She-
sees a tiger, she knows it's a tiger.
She,
But now she's really perplexed because,
it doesn't.
yeah, to me now, she sees the other experiment.
Okay.
and she's going to investigate this. And I love this. I really do. I love this about her, but it kind of reminds me of myself, and I like to investigate.
Well, that's what, I thought that's sort of what worked with it for you before, is that the piece seems to fit you. So let's
Yeah.
play with it. Is there a way you can get that echoing voice out of there? Because it's not only
Trying
is
very hard to do that right now.
not only annoying to you, but to me too.
I'm sure it's annoying to everybody.
Right.
I'm afraid I could try to turn off the phone. Let's see what I can.
Julie, you should just turn off the iPad at all.
I'm sorry, what?
Turn off iPad at all.
Okay. One minute. I could just move it to another room. Okay, and it's off.
Okay, that's
good.
better.
How am I now?
Yeah, you're good now. Now you're good. All right, let's play. Let's see what you got so far.
Okay. I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon at a distance to see what it might be for, if I could. But I was not able to make out. I think it is a man. I've never seen a man, and it looked like one. And I realized that I feel more curiosity about it than any of the other reptiles. If it is a reptile, and I suppose it is, because it has frowsy hair and blue eyes and looks like a reptile. It has no hips. It tapers like a carrot itself. And when it spreads its arms, it's like a derrick. And I think it's a reptile, although it may be architecture. I was afraid of it at first and started to run every time it turned around, for I thought it was going to chase me. But by and by, I found it was only trying to get away. So after that, I was not timid anymore, but tracked it along several hours, almost 20 yards behind, which made it nervous and unhappy. And at last, it was a good deal worried and climbed a tree. I waited a good while and then gave up and went home.
Okay, cool.
He told me to cut it down, so I did.
No, and I think that's perfect. That's a really nice section to work. I think that works great. I mean, it's a very long monologue. But
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a whole book of monologue. Right?
Of course. Okay, so what's the very first line?
I followed the other experiment around yesterday at a distance to see what it was for.
Okay, good.
I could.
All right, good. All right, so here's something that I can show you. In other words, when you first start learning something, mostly where dialogue comes from is mostly it comes from experience, right? In other words, if I asked you today, what did you do today? What did you do when you woke up? Tell me what you did when you woke up.
Well, I got up and I let Malcolm out.
Good. So the very first thing that you did before you created that line was, and we all saw it right here in front of us, you almost took a photograph of where you started the day and you created the dialogue from the photograph of that experience. Right? In other words, I saw your eyes open up and you went, okay, what did and I saw you, I literally saw you get yourself out of bed. There was that moment, right? In other words, and then you created the dialogue from that experience.
Right.
Right. So it's my thought that when you start to learn dialogue in a play, that you should learn the picture of the experience first and then the dialogue. So this exercise works really well when you're first learning your lines. So what I want you to do this time through with it, since you actually basically sort of read the whole thing through, what I want you to do is to look at the very first line or the first 4 words or how many, whatever it is, whatever creates a picture in your mind, right? And I want you to take that picture and then I want you to feel that line and then say the line to me, right? And then I want you to go back and the line that follows it, I want you to do the same thing. In other words, I want you to create the experiences before the lines. And I want you to take the time to do that as opposed to just reading it straight through, because that, I know you can read it well. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
What I want you to do is to find the real experience that creates the specific dialogue that Eve has here in this particular situation. Okay. So take your time, create the picture, and then say what the picture is through the dialogue to me, then go back to the next line, do the same thing. So it'll probably take us a good 3-4 minutes to get through this whole monologue. We're not interested in being in a hurry. What you're interested in doing is creating an experience or creating a picture that you can speak from before you speak. Okay, does that make sense to you? Do you have any
Yes,
questions?
yes, totally.
All right, here we go.
I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon at a distance to see what it might be for. If I could. But I was not able to make it out. I think it is a man. I'd never seen a man, but it looked like one. I feel sure that that's what it is. I realize that I feel more curiosity about this reptile than any of the other reptiles. If it is a reptile. And I suppose it is because it has frowsy hair and blue eyes and looks like a reptile. It has no hips. It tapers like a carrot when it stands, and it spreads its arms like a derrick. But I suppose it could be architecture. I was afraid of it at first and started to run away when it turned around. I thought it was going to chase me. But by and by, I found it was only trying.
See, now I feel like you're going back to reading, and this
I
is
did. That's why I stopped myself.
yeah, and don't beat
Yeah.
yourself up for that, because this is what people always do. In other words, they don't want to take the time; they just want to get through the words. And
Right.
to me, the whole point of the exercise is to take the time to create that particular image. You know.
Okay.
So, for example, when you say, "and it spreads its arms really wide like a derrick," what's the line after that?
So I think it is a reptile,
Yeah.
though it may be architecture.
Yeah, no, so I think it is a reptile. Though it
So,
could
so
be
I think it
architecture.
is a reptile.
Now, and
though
now you have, there's another thought. There's a thought process that goes in
Yeah.
there, right? That has to completely reverse that thought. So,
Right.
right, and you need to make that thought, and it's that time that I want you to take as opposed to falling back into it. It started out really great. Let's try it again, all right? And again,
You want me
Yeah.
to start from the beginning or no?
sure I do. Sure I do. And you'll cut off whatever you need. And remember, you really have, once you create that experience, you really have an opinion about that experience, because God knows, if anything, God created woman to be opinionated. Okay, here we go.
I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon at a distance to see what it might be for, if I could. But I was not able to make it out.
You see, and in the truth, but but I was not able to make it out because he was always going behind the trees, or he was up in a stump, or something walked in front of him. When in other words, so that when you start to learn the lines for the piece, you can also riff a little bit about it too, so that you understand an even larger picture of what your experience was, right? I mean, so when I said, but I just couldn't get a good view of it. where that's coming from is your mind is seeing, God, he just walked behind the tree, went into the water, he did this. Those are all the experiences that create the dynamic of that line,
Yeah.
right? Okay, let's go back. Let's play it again. Again, take your time. Here we go.
I followed the other experiment around yesterday afternoon at a distance to see what it might be for. But I was not able to make it out. I think it is a man. I have never seen a man, but it looked like one. And I feel sure that that's what it is. I realize that I feel more curiosity about it than any of the other reptiles.
Good. And so this is the one thing that's the exception in the whole piece is what has to happen to you before you have. I realize that I have more curiosity. In other words, there has to be an emotional clue to that, you know, right? And we know where that emotional cue begins, you know, and it sort of starts there and then comes back out the mouth. But what I'm saying is you've got to, God, you know, it's just really, nothing has felt like this. This is really weird. That it's got to have that feeling to it, because before you're talking about things that you observe, which is one thing, but there you're talking about something that you feel that you've never felt before. That is the point of your confusion. Go back a line or two before that.
I think it is a man. I had never seen a man, but it looked like one, and I feel sure that that's what it is. I realize that I feel more curiosity about this reptile than any of the other reptiles, if it is a reptile. And I suppose it is, for it has frowsy hair and blue eyes and looks like a reptile. It has no hips, it tapers like a carrot, and when it stretches its arms out like a derrick, but maybe it's architecture. I was afraid at first and started to run away every time it turned around.
And go back and take that again. And when you say I was afraid at first, there's also in what's involved in that line is you almost not wanting to admit it, because Eve is somebody who doesn't really admit fear so much. It's like, God, this is really strong. I mean, but that's part of it. All right, here we go.
Okay. I was afraid at first and started to run away every time it turned around. For I thought it was going to hurt me and chase me. But by and by, I found it was only trying to get away. So after that, I was not timid anymore. But I tracked it along several hours, about 20 yards behind, which made it very nervous and unhappy. At
And
last,
did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy the fact that it made it nervous and unhappy?
yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So that's part of the picture. That's part of the memory, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Okay, so go back a
Yeah.
line or two before and put that into the memory. All right, here we go.
I found it was only trying to get away. So after that, I was not timid anymore, but tracked it along several hours, about 20 yards behind, which made it nervous and unhappy. And at last, it was a good deal worried and climbed up a tree. I waited a good while and then gave up and went home.
Great. And also in the monologue, isn't there, you came back the next day, he was still in the tree?
Yes, today the same thing over. I got it up a tree again. I could
Yes.
add that on.
Yeah, I think so. And today, same thing over. It got it up a tree again. Yeah.
Right, today the same thing over. I got it up a tree again.
Right. And then what you want to do is to find a line somewhere else in that monologue that makes it sound like that's all you have to say on the subject.
Okay, I think
right.
there is I think he's written it. I'll get it and put it in.
I'm sure you have. Now, did you feel a difference in that?
Yes, much better. I felt like it was really happening, actually.
Absolutely. Now I want you to try, something, and you're probably going to fail miserably, but I want you to do this. I want you to
Okay.
not look at your script at all now and just do the monologue from from the images that you remember.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
I followed the experiment around the other day from a distance to see if I could see what it was for. You know, if I could, but I couldn't figure it out. I think it's a man. I've never seen a man, but I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. It's a man. And I'm just so curious about this creature, this reptile. I'm more curious about him than any of the other reptiles. Because he looks like a reptile. He has frowsy hair and blue eyes. And the phone's ringing.
Yeah, sorry, but
Yeah,
point taken. All right. So what I'm saying is if you create dialogue from images, you're going to remember an image when you forget the dialogue. You created that from those images. And that's
Yeah.
the best, one of the best ways to learn your lines in the very beginning is to take your time, create an image for that line, and then learn the line so that those two things connect.
right.
Right. And so you're speaking from experience. Ooh, what happened?
Nothing now. It's somebody is calling me.
Now you're gone. Your picture's gone. Oh, there
Okay,
you go. Okay.
all right.
Anyway, yeah, so that you're speaking from the pictures of that experience, which is, again, that's what we do in real life. That's how we create dialogue
Right.
in real life is
Right.
it's based on our experiences and we remember those experiences. So instantly you create, I mean, and the more specific those images are and the more detailed they are, the more excitement that you will have in telling it, because it'll almost, you said you felt more involved that time. Well, you created your own involvement because you created a situation before you spoke.
Right. Well,
Right.
it felt different. It felt like I was actually telling a story about something that had actually happened.
That's exactly right. As opposed to just telling a story.
Right.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, you've got to give yourself the experience before you can really learn the line. And this is why actors do this backwards to me. It doesn't make any sense to me why you would want to learn the lines, memorize the lines, beat them into your head, and then try to create the experience from what was just beaten into your head. Why not create the experience first that helps you learn the line, and then those two things become married for the rest of your life? You just can't forget them. You know, just
Right.
right. And I think it has a lot to do with just because we were taught to memorize stuff in high school. I think that's where it comes from. I honestly do. Is, I still remember, the quality of mercy is not strained. It dropped. This is gentle rain from heaven upon the
Right,
place
yeah.
beneath. Right. I still remember all those things that we had to memorize. Right. Because and beat them in, and we hated it. We absolutely hated doing that. And most actors absolutely hate learning their lines. And this, to me, is the sign of a bad actor who hates learning their lines. To me, that should be one of the most exciting processes of the whole process, is creating the experience and the images that bring the lines to the mouth. That's the difference in my approach to
Well,
create.
at one point I did get up and pretend I was walking around chasing him to see what it would feel like.
And that's absolutely great. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Any way that you want to do that. Oftentimes, well, not often, but occasionally in plays where characters talk about things that happen to them off stage that we don't see in the play, but they're important incidents that happen off stage. I like to improvise those incidents so that it gives the characters the reality of that experience that the lines then bring to it. This is the same process, only in your own improvisational way. Whatever makes it more fun is what
Okay,
you want to
yeah.
do. is what you want to do from the very beginning. But if you launch your process as a chore, it's going to come out as a chore.
Right, okay,
Okay? But
yep.
come on back, everybody. I want to talk about this for a second. This is what I say. You never have to worry about whether you come prepared or unprepared for class or whatever. We can always figure something out. But does that make sense to you guys? Learning the lines that way, taking the time to give yourself the experience and really see that experience before you really get into memorizing the syntax of the line. If you bring those two things together from the beginning, it's so much more fun. It really is. It makes learning lines fun rather than by rote. I just hate that. I just hate that. Okay, cool.
Bill,
Yes.
what happens if you get a role that has zillions of lines and you have to shoot or go up, in a week and a half?
I still say that's the quickest way to remember them. In other words, I will forget a line that I beat into my head, Leora. Because the way I'll forget it is because it was beat into my head. If I forget an and or a but, or I say a then instead of a there, then all of a sudden I'm blank because the word that was carrying me is now gone and I don't know where I am. But if I learn the experience, I'm not going to forget the experience. I'm going to be able to talk my way out of that experience. It may not be the exact syntax, but I'm not going to get that horrible naked feeling we get when we don't know what the next word is, because
Yeah.
I gave myself that. And it seems like it should take a longer time to learn your lines that way. I honestly think, Leora, that you learn your lines in a shorter period of time that way. I really do. I don't think learning by rote is at all a quick process. It's a painful process. It's always painful because then you get mad at yourself when you don't get the and or the but in the right place, right? And you start working from the details first, as opposed to starting with the big picture and then finding the details from the big picture. But it's so much harder to see the big picture when you start learning details first. When you memorize details, it's blocking a bigger picture. But if you take the bigger picture first, then the details become more important and more fun involved in the learning process. So I'm saying if you've got a lot to learn in a short period of time, absolutely, this is the quickest way to do it.
Well, I can't wait to start.
Okay, this is great.
I'll be going around here stalking Adam.
Oh, that's great. That's good. And if you make a game out of what you have to learn, God, just saying that line, doesn't that just make it more interesting? And I made a game.
Absolutely, because she's so funny anyway, this character.
Right.
Her take on everything. And she's like so sure of herself.
Yes.
And has, like you said in the beginning, opinionated about everything.
Absolutely. Very strong opinion.
Yeah, very strong opinion. So it's quite fun. So yeah. Maybe I was taking it too seriously.
Well, as George Burns says, comedy and drama are exactly the same, except comedy is a little more serious. And right. What he means by that is that people who take themselves too seriously are funny.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
People who are just serious are often not funny. But if you just take just take a line that's just, I've never seen anything like that before, or
right.
I've never seen anything like that before. In other words, I'm taking myself a little more seriously, so it has a more common sense to it, right. That's the difference. That's what George meant, anyway. Yeah, my other favorite, George Burns, is the definition of acting. He says, acting, that's easy. It's just being honest. And once you learn how to fake that, then you're acting. That's true, really. Isn't that what it really is? It's faked honesty, right?
Yeah.
And so what my theory about creating faked honesty is by giving yourself fake pictures before you say the fake words. That's it. So that it all lives in the same world. Okay, cool beans. Let's go to Leora. How's that?
Okay.
All right. All right, so here we go. What have you worked on this week about this, Leora? Is there anything you want to talk about before we start?
I tried to work on some of the things that you suggested, which was that this is really at this moment about her.
Yep.
And the shock of this and her, and I love those two things you said. What is happening that she's not in control of, and what is she doing to try to master it or live in it or
Yeah, or survive it.
survive it? That's right. That was the word.
Survival.
And then also what was very helpful was, I think I do as an actress, I do get caught up in saying the words.
Mhm.
And you kind of suggested that I stop, that I just let it go more naturally, something like that you said. So that was also very helpful, because I was trying not to be as measured about saying the words one sentence after another.
Yes. Good. Actually, I think what we talked about, I think it was the fact that she's doing an improvisation, that she's composing the words.
Yes.
Right. That in the moment, she has to think of what to say. That's something else that will take you further away from Leora, the actress, and bring you closer to the character, is because the character is looking for the right words to compose in this moment as well. That's what I think we talked about too, now that I remember. Okay, anytime you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, take as much time as you want.
Think it out. Go anywhere you want. Go to a hotel. Go live with her. Don't come back here. Because after 25 years of marriage, of building a home and raising a family and all the senseless pain we inflicted on each other, I'm damned if I'm going to stand here and let you tell me you're in love with another woman. Because this isn't a convention weekend with your secretary, is it? Or some strange broad you picked up after 3 shots of booze. No, this is your great winter romance, isn't it? Yeah, your last round of grand passion before you settle into the emeritus years. Is that what's left for me? Is that my share? She gets the passion, I get the dotage. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit here knitting and purling until you come back like it's some penitent drunk? I'm your wife, damn it. And if you can't work up a winter passion for me, then the least I require is your respect. I'm hurting. Do you see that? I am hurting.
Hold the energy, start it again.
And get out. Go anywhere you want. Go to a hotel. Go live with her. But don't come back. Because after 25 years of marriage and building a home and raising a family and all the senseless pain we inflicted on each other, I'm damned if I'm going to stand here and let you tell me that you're in love with another woman. Because this isn't some like convention weekend with your secretary, is it? Or some strange broad you picked up in a bar after 3 shots. No, this is your great winter romance, isn't it? Your last roar of passion before you settle into the emeritus years. Is that what's left for me? Is that my share? She gets the passion, I get the dotage. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit here knitting and purling until you slink back like some penitent drunk? I'm your wife, damn it. If you can't work up a winter passion for me, then the least I require is your respect, your allegiance. I'm hurting. Don't you see that? I'm hurting.
That's great. The reason I looped you is, as you well know, because we've worked together a little while now, is where you are at the end of the piece is where you are at the beginning of the piece. So the second time through, you'll see in the playback, there was more hurt in the opening of the piece when we did the loop. And that's what I think it needs. I think what's happening to you that you have no control over is that you are hurt before you say the first line. And I think there's hurt involved in those first few lines because they're emotional decisions. They're not at all intellectual decisions. Emotional decisions come from hurt, right? And then I think you sort of use history. There's a line that you say, it's not another one of those convention weekends.
Your
Don't you
second,
have that? See, and I think that has got to be a deeper experiential line for her, because I think that he has had convention weekends before, many of them before, that this one is somehow different. And I think when you say that line, it has to come from, I don't know, it sounds like you've been with this gentleman a long time. It sounds like you've been with this husband a long time. So my thought is that he has done this for a great deal of your marriage, right? And again, I think what we talked about last time, it's one thing that you're fucking around with the people you're working with because you've been doing that our whole fucking relationship, but you've never fallen in love with anybody. I've always been the number one. I've always, right? So I think that's where that comes from. What's the other? Supposed to do? What am I? And then when you get to what am I supposed to do? I think that hurt comes really flooding back in, because after you've sort of done what you've wanted to do all along, which is just say, get the fuck out of here. I think in the middle of all that, you realize that you're going to be alone. And which is probably why you've put it off as long as you have. And now that moment has come where you have done what you wanted to do all along. And so that moment of being alone is more terrifying than it ever has been before. And I think terrifying is a better word than hurt in that section. I think you're terrified of being alone. I think that's what's kept you with him all of these years. What's made you put up with all of his weekend affairs with his people at the network is your fear. You had a greater fear of being alone than you did of being a wife of a man who fucks around. That makes any sense, right? And again, that's what we always want to do, is to try to make perfect sense out of it for a person who's in a nonsensical position. I mean, it's too much. This moment for hers, it's the most traumatic thing that she's been through in her life. And so she's got to survive that. She's got to survive that with dignity and standing up for herself. Okay, so always start with the hurt that you're feeling. Always start that's it. So your inner monologue has got to be fucking killing me. I got a like fucking hole in my heart. Then fucking go. And so that it's always coming from, you don't know how you're going to say that first line. You're only going to totally feel that hurt that you're feeling, that incredible pain, that crushing heart pain. And then you're going to speak from there and see where that takes you. Okay. And it's going to come flushing back at the end, but for a whole different reason at the end. A whole different reason at the end is the fear that has kept you with him as long as you stayed with him, and that's being alone. Okay? And what bridges those two things? What bridges that hurt and that terrifying, what bridges the hurt and the terrifying feeling is an action of kicking him out. That's the bridge. Okay, let's try it. Here we go.
okay. Then get out. Go anywhere you want. Go to a hotel. Go live with her. But don't come back. Because after 25 years of raising a family and building a home and all the senseless pain that we've inflicted on each other, I'm damned if I'm going to stand here and let you tell me that you're in love with another woman. This isn't some convention weekend with your secretary, is it? Or some broad you picked up in a bar after 3 shots. This is your great winter passion, isn't it? Your last fling of passion before you settle into the emeritus years. Is that what's left for me? Is that my share? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit home knitting and purling until you slink back like some penitent drunk? I'm your wife, damn it. If you can't work up a winter passion for me, then the least I expect is your respect and your allegiance. I'm hurting. Don't you understand that? I'm hurting badly.
Great. Ooh, Liara, that was some of the best work that I've seen you do.
Really?
Really, 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 really. Come on back, everybody, for a second. Good. Right. Don't you think so, huh? Right. Anybody else want to say anything? Cindy, what did you want to say?
I could really feel all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was very real.
Mhm.
It was a great journey. And again, it all has to do with before you speak, you have got to give yourself what's going on inside of you. You've got to take that time. When Leora said, and I know she didn't say it for this reason when we first started working, she says, okay, can you just give me a minute? She actually asked me, could you just give me a minute? Of course I'll give you a minute, I'll give you an hour. The whole point is especially when you're auditioning or doing anything like that, you have to take that time for yourself. That's your time before you start to speak. It's the most important time. And you can see the benefits of it, right? I really felt that you didn't know how it was going to manifest itself, Leora, that it just sort of came out of that whole setup that you gave yourself at the very beginning. What did it feel like for you?
I was trying to sort of drift into, that moment where he said it, and then just that feeling of like, he's going to leave, and I'll have nothing.
Yeah.
I'll have nothing. After so many years, I'll have nothing. And then, wanting to both, like throw myself at him and punch him, and then getting much more centered in the middle on myself, which was, what am I going to do? Like, that's real.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? It's like, this is my life.
Yeah. Is this
You
what
know?
I'm left with? Is this it?
Right.
After all these fucking years? Because it sounds like a 20 or 25-year marriage to me.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
They have a daughter who's 6 months pregnant,
Okay.
and another daughter, I think, starting college. And subsequently in the film, when he starts to leave the woman, the other woman, the producer at the TV network,
The Faye Dunaway role. Yeah.
Faye
Faye
Dunaway.
Dunaway.
Yeah. When he leaves her, he lets her know that he's part of the reason he's going home is that real life is still happening and his wife is in a major depression. So that was very spot on, Bill, because she really doesn't, she can't handle it. She's
No.
just not prepared at all.
Absolutely. That again, I think that's the key to why she stayed with him all these years, is because this is the greatest fear.
Mhm.
I think that's a reason that a lot of people put up with horrible relationships, is because they have a greater fear of what will happen if the relationship isn't there.
It's really interesting you're bringing that up, because I'm in my 60s and I've been married for over 30 years.
Uh-huh.
And I've had conversation with several women friends in my age group about the problems in our marriage and what would it be like if we ever even considered like leaving. And it's really startling to me to realize, it's not something I had thought about very much before, but there would be a lot of fear. Not that I'm leaving my marriage, but that, one of the biggest things that did come up, and it wasn't just me, was that, when you're with someone for that many years,
Yeah. It just, everything becomes habits. And when those habits are gone, your whole life is like I mean, a habit is gone. When a habit goes, that's an emotional moment for a human being. I mean, and then if it's a whole series of habits and behaviors, then you're just completely lost if 10 or 15 of those things are gone. And, you know, there's so many things wrapped up in that, you know, it
Well,
was so,
there's also, you know, what I like to think of, or I do think of as healthy dependency. I mean, you get dependent on the other person. That's part of the rules of marriage is I can lean on you, you can lean on me.
right,
You know, I'm not talking about a whole subset of unhealthy dependency, but
right.
even with a healthy, and in this marriage, it's not particularly healthy dependency because she knows he has been cheating on her
Yeah,
for years and it pains her terribly.
of course. But the greater fear is what's happening right now.
Right.
Right, exactly. This was, and what precipitates the greatest fear is that you don't have a problem with affairs, but you do have a problem with him making another woman number one
Right.
in being taken care of, not necessarily being satisfied or having a great relationship or any of that, but it's just your day-to-day existence of being taken care of. That's what people don't really realize is really at stake when you have a long-term breakup. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, Leora, you'll see it in the playback, the progression of how you handled that fear. The last time through was absolutely stunning. Really, really, like I said, I truly meant it. It was one of the best pieces that I've seen you do. And
Yay. Thanks, Bill.
yeah, you should hang on to that piece. That's a great piece for you. Are you saying something, Julia?
It was fabulous.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
occasionally.
trying. Yeah, I just think I think it was really fabulous.
Yeah, it really is.
Very
Really is.
fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just
I'll have to
it
look
was
at it.
it was wrenching. You could feel her pain. It was wrenching.
Right. And
Did you
you
hear
know,
me?
yeah. And
Oh, good.
and it was her personal drama that really made it exceptional to me, is the drama that she created for herself. It was not a dramatic moment. She was not being dramatic with the other person. She was feeling the drama inside of herself, which is what we talked about so much, that this really has nothing to do with the other character other than the fact that he's finally, you know, gone too far. But it's all about me, and that's what you made it, and that's what was so powerful about it. Great work, Leora. Nice.
Thank you. Should I bring it back or bring something else next time?
Let's keep it, and we will run back over it occasionally. I would love to, but yeah, I would love it if you bring something else. Maybe which is completely the opposite of this character, which is the character from 6 Degrees of Separation that I said. I mean, because there's a person who's just like overly confident and has it has too much self-confidence.
Okay.
All right. I think it'll be fun to play the opposite end of this.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Great.
you so much.
Thank you. Good work. Okay. Tina, you want to go?
I can go.
Okay.
You want?
Okay.
So yeah, this is Linda Lohman.
Okay.
It's pretty short.
I know the play. It's one of the best things that I ever directed.
Oh, good.
But you should have some comfort in the fact that it was in 1981 that I directed.
Oh,
What's that?
41 years ago. That's just unbelievable to me.
yeah.
What play?
Death of a Salesman.
Oh, Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
There
Okay.
you go.
Then make Charlie your father, Biff. But you can't do that, can you? I didn't say he was a great man. Willie Loman never made a lot of money. Never got his name in the paper. He's not the finest character in the world, but he's a human being. And attention must be paid. What is happening to him right now is terrible. and I just went up on my line and tapped.
That's okay. That's okay. Did you send it to anybody else? You want
Of
somebody-
course I did not, Bill, right?
Of course.
I've got it. I could have pushed it through, but I didn't want to. So
I really appreciate that. That's what I want you to do is that, and here's the other key, right? And you should use this sometime if you ever have to do an audition again, especially live. Is there ever live auditions again? Will that ever happen?
right,
again? I
live
don't know.
theater.
I really don't. I don't have no belief in that. But here's the key. If you were in an audition and you felt that way and you held on to that energy and just started over again
Mm-hmm.
without saying, oh, I just went up, you know,
Yes.
without that moment of apology.
Uh-huh.
So that what you're doing in the context of the audition is demonstrating that you're trying to stay connected to the piece and that you're happy to admit when you're not connected to the piece, but you're never going to apologize for not being connected to the piece because you're always trying to work to get connected. You know what I mean?
Yes,
What you're
absolutely.
doing,
Yeah.
doing is demonstrating your work ethic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And people don't realize that in an audition is anytime they screw up, there's always this huge moment of shame. And it's not only a moment of shame for the actor, it's a moment of shame for everyone in the room, like all of us who are sitting there hoping that you're the answer to our play.
Right.
Yeah, all of us that are hoping that you're the right person. We're disappointed that you stopped too. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
I
So
did.
what I'm saying is, if you really want to make yourself stand out in a crowd, it's don't apologize for fucking up.
Yeah.
Use the fuck up to your advantage.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
All right,
try it
I'll-
again from the top.
I'll keep going.
So
Let me-
anyway, I give you kudos for stopping because you knew you were not connected. You knew you were going to be faking it from there on.
yeah, I did.
That's good. Well, you know, we're in rehearsal. You all know this, that these classes are a rehearsal. They're not a performance. I want to teach you how to rehearse. I don't want to teach you how to perform. I can't. There's no performance.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Let me just put it up here in case I forget. Then make Charlie your father, Biff. But you can't do that, can you? Then make Charlie your father, Biff. But you can't do that, can you? I never said he was a great man. Willie Loman never made a lot of money. He never got his name in the paper. And he's not the greatest character that ever lived. But he is a human being. And what is happening to him right now is terrible, and attention must be paid. He cannot be allowed to go into that grave like some kind of an old dog. Attention must finally be paid to that sort of a person. You say he's crazy? No. Some people say he's just lost his way. Well, you don't have to be smart to know what the answer is. The man is just exhausted. And a small man can be just as exhausted as a great man.
Woo, woo. Tina, nice. Something came over you there, right?
I was just so frustrated with myself for doing what you said, right? So I just was like, of course, you know, you can't do this. You have to.
You see, but you know, here was what I got to say is, instead of denying your frustration, you used your frustration. That, you know, that is key. You know, if you're not using what's actually happening to you now, even though it might seem wrong, you're wrong. What's happening to you now is what you must use to try to translate the spirituality of what you already know. And so that's why it's going to be really different every time that you do it. And it did look like something took you over, you know, and I knew that it was your own particular frustration. I knew what that was, but you translated it into, I felt the mother's pain, and because it's a lifetime of having watched this go on in front of her face and never saying a word, and that whole lifetime is tied into that speech, you know, and that's what I felt, because what I felt was the frustration of a lifetime tied into that speech. That's why your frustration with yourself and your courage to take that frustration and incorporate it into what you had really, really, really paid off in spades. You know, that's the key. That's the hard part about Linda. She doesn't really speak up for a whole lifetime until that speech. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, she always tries to make it work. She always tries to make it happen. She always tries to turn it around. This is where she has to draw the line. The little tube that connects to the gas heater. That's where I draw the line. When he's going to kill himself, we all got to start paying attention. You know what I mean? And it was a frustration of a lifetime. And that's really what came out there. And it came out, and I just want to separate it and say it's a stunning theatrical interpretation of it. I would also like to try to do a cinematic translation of this. So I want you to try to take the same thing, and here's the difference, right? Is I want you to use the energy that you're using on the outside to make your point. I want you to use that. I don't want you to take it away, but I want you to transfer it to the need inside to have it happen. Right? Okay, all right. It's just a retooling of the energy, but I want you to do it again. Only I want you to try to think of it more cinematically, like it's a close-up.
Okay.
Okay, so that energy gets put inside instead of on the outside, but it's the same amount of energy. It hurts twice as much from the inside.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
See what I can do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then make Charlie your father, Biff. But you can't do that, can you? I never said he was a great man. Willie Loman never earned a lot of money, never had his name in the paper. He's not the finest character that ever lived, but he's a human being. And what is happening to him right now is terrible, and attention must be paid. He must not be allowed to go to his grave like some kind of an old dog. Attention must finally be paid to such a person. You say he's crazy? No. Some people say he's just lost his balance. You don't have to be smart to see what's going on with that man. The man is exhausted. A small man can be just as exhausted as a great man.
Woo, 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 woo. Boy, that's much more tiring, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, look at her. Look,
Yeah.
you're still recovering. You know, I think what you just demonstrated, and you now have it on a playback, is you demonstrate the difference between a cinematic and a theatrical approach to the same speech perfectly.
Thank you.
Really, really well done how you transferred that. And to me, I mean, that's like everything that you understand about your energy, is that it's not doing less, it's taking that same intensity and driving it inward. And it is fucking exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think like you do want to get rid of it, right? Like it's in you and you're like, I got to get rid of this. But then you're like, oh no.
No. That's the gold. That's the gold that you want to keep for yourself in a cinematic take on any film that you do. That's your gold. Don't let it out.
That was very helpful, Bill, to know. I'm trying to sort of navigate the differences of those two things, and this helped a lot, I think.
Well, that's the real advantage of doing Zoom. You know, I mean, this is the real example, because we can do both consciously and see the results. You can't see the results of a cinematic approach in a live studio theater. You can only experience that in a two-dimensional screen. You know, because then the character becomes the third dimension that sucks you in. That's what's so
Mhm.
great, right? That's what's so great.
Yeah.
about it. Yeah. Come on back, everybody. I want to get their reaction to the difference. Okay. Yeah. So what do we think, guys? Did you see the difference? What we're huge, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how it wore on her energy, right? In other words, so that it's really not cinematic acting is not less energy. It's honestly, it's more energy, I think, because it's an internal energy will fucking destroy me. If I'm like Tina said, if I'm like anxious and allowing to let it out, then it's like sort of feels good, right? And I don't think Linda's feeling good there. So I think what she learned from the cinematic take is something that she would want to bring into the theater, you know, so that she would have both of those things, you know, working on, because it is what made it so much more powerful in the cinematic take is that you really felt that lifetime of pain inside of that woman as she was working through that. Julie, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. God bless you. Good. I just want to make sure you're still there, honey.
No,
Okay.
I was just, I just want to say that that was really a spectacular performance. I was crying.
Yeah.
Made
Yeah.
me cry.
Yeah, and I think it was really unique. I mean, it's probably it's the most recognizable speech from the play from that character's point of view. But you did it so
Right.
unique. Wouldn't matter that I've heard it 100 times before. I was excited about seeing it that way, you know. And there are a lot of casting directors who, once they see certain pieces, they just turn themselves off because they've seen it so many times, and that just annoys me so much. Because that's the advantage of having seen something done so many times, is when truly a person who understands it comes in front of you, it's like you understand it in a way that you've never understood it before. And what you did in that section enlightened me to some things that I've never seen before in the character. So congratulations.
Thank
Really
you, Bill. Thank you.
nice, Tina. And you guys, we can do that. So if you have stuff and you want to bring cinematic issues or theatrical issues to it, we can play with those two differences. Okay. That's something else that's a real advantage of doing the Zoom class. So, okay. So Vasily and Cindy, let's do a little good,
Mom and son action.
a little Jewish gay humor. Here we go. Tina, you weren't here. Oh yeah, you saw it last week. You saw the beginning.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it. I
Okay.
enjoyed it very
Yeah.
much.
That's great. Okay, here we go.
Yahoo, Mrs. Bloom. It's safe to come out. David and Ann went for a walk and we've got the whole place to fight in.
Enjoy yourself. I'm going to bed.
Mom, sorry, I lost my temper.
Ha! I'm glad you're sorry.
Please come out here. We can't talk like this.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight. But I don't fight with my children. In your life, did you ever hear your father and I fight? No. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because all my childhood, I listened to fights. My father fought with my mother fought with my mother fought with me. When I married your father, I told him, Jack, I'll talk, but I won't fight. Did you ever hear us fight? No. And now you know why.
You want to sit down?
I'm sitting.
All right.
And don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler, and you've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. You just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you really know, and we'll go from there.
I don't know anything.
You spent the day with him. He must have said something.
Let me think. He's an orphan.
He's not an orphan.
He said he was an orphan.
Well, he's not. He was a battered child. They took him away from his parents. This is the third foster home. The first brought him back. The second that he ran away from. So
he's a liar.
no, he is not a liar.
This isn't going to work.
Come on, we're finally getting somewhere.
How do you expect me to sit here and discuss this insanity?
You're right, that's not going to work.
Arnold, what do you know from raising a child?
What's to know? Whenever I have a problem, I simply imagine how you would have solved it, and I do the opposite.
Is this what you invited me up here for? To insult me and spit on your father's grave?
For crying out, will you please sit down?
Don't holler. I'm sitting. I don't know why, but I'm sitting.
All right, all right. Now we're going to talk about David, not Alan, not Daddy, just David. And we're going to stay calm.
Huh.
I give up.
Arnold, darling, open your eyes. Don't you see how ridiculous this is? I've been here less than a day. Already I've seen you let him miss school, hang out on the street, go out without dinner.
This is hardly a typical day.
You want to talk or make excuses?
This isn't little Lord Fauntleroy we're talking about here. If this kid decided I was coming down too hard on him, he'd pack up and take off, and I'd never get him back again. That sweet-looking little boy knows how to make more money in a night than you and I could make in a week.
So you let him run wild?
No, but I don't beat him up either. I teach him. I advise him. I try to set an example for him.
Some example. Arnold, look. You live the life you want. I put my fist in my mouth. I don't say a word. This is what you want. But think about the boy. He likes you. He told me he loves you. He sees you living like this. Don't you think it's going to affect him?
Ma, David's gay.
But he's only been here 6 months.
He came that way.
No one comes that way.
I wouldn't open it.
By you, everything is a joke.
Don't you understand? The whole purpose of placing him here was for him to grow up with a positive attitude about his homosexuality.
That's it. I'm finished. The world has gone completely mad and I'm heading south for the summer.
You make it difficult, very difficult to have an intelligent conversation.
If you want an intelligent conversation, do what I do. Talk to yourself. It's the only way.
You think this is easy for me? Look, my hands are shaking. I've been like this for days, knowing you'd be coming and we'd have to talk about this.
Because you knew I'd show you how wrong you were.
I'm not wrong.
No? Tell me something. How old was your friend Alan when you met him?
17.
17. 17, and you were doing God knows what together. Now tell me, how old is this son of yours?
I have no intention of sleeping with him if that's what you're driving at.
Well, I had no intention of having a homosexual for a son, so look where intentions get you. Arnold, do what you want. You want to live like this? Gay Gesundheit. I don't care anymore. You're not going to make me sick like you made your father.
I made your father sick?
Oh, no, he was thrilled to have a fairy for a son. You took a lifetime of dreams and threw them back in his face.
What lifetime of dreams? He knew I was gay for 14 years.
You walk into a room, say, "Hi, Dad, I'm queer," and that's that? You think that's what we brought you into this world for? Believe me, if I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered. God should tear off my tongue. I should talk to my child this way. Arnold, you're my son. You're a good person, a sensitive person with a heart and a horror like your father. And I try to love you for that and forget this, but you won't let me. You've got to throw me on the ground and rub my face in it. You haven't spoken a sentence since I've gotten here without the word gay in it.
Because that's what I am.
Well, if that were all, you could leave it in there where it belongs, in private. But no, you're obsessed by it. You're not happy unless everyone is talking about it. I don't know why you don't just wear a big sign and get it over with.
I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. I'm not trying to throw it in your face, but it's what I am. And it's not just a matter of who I sleep with. Ma, try to imagine the world the other way around. Imagine that every movie, book, magazine, TV show, newspaper, commercial, billboard told you that you should be homosexual. But you know you're not, and you know that
Arnold, stop already. You're talking crazy.
You want to know what's crazy? That after all these years, I'm still here justifying my life. That's what it's crazy.
You call this a life? This is a sickness. But this is what you've chosen for yourself.
Ma, look, I'm gay. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think anyone does, but that's what I am. For as far as back as I can remember, back before I knew it was different or wrong.
You have not heard a word I've said.
I know you'd rather I was straight, but I'm not. Would you also rather I had lied to you? My friends all think I'm crazy for telling you. They'd never dream of telling their parents. Instead, they cut their parents out of their lives. And the parents wonder, why are my children so distant? Is that what you'd rather?
It doesn't have to be our every conversation either.
You want a part of my life? I'm not going to edit it out, the things you don't like.
Can we end this conversation?
No. There's one more thing you've got to understand. You made fun of my crochet before. You think it's a cute little effeminate thing I do. Let me tell you something. I have taught myself to sew, cook, fix plumbing, do taxes, build furniture. I can even pat myself on the back when necessary. Also, I don't have to ask anyone for anything. There is nothing I need from anyone except love and respect. And anyone who can give me those things has no place in my life. You're my mother and I love you. I do. But if you can't respect me, then you've got no business being here.
You're throwing me out.
What I'm trying to say.
Throwing me out. Oh, isn't that nice? Listen, mister, you get one mother in this world. Only one. Wait, just you wait.
Okay, nice work. You guys spent some time this week on this, huh?
Not really, just today.
Say, about an hour and a half, though.
Well, that's good. It's fresh in your head. I hate studying that way, but there was some nice improvement. Listen, I want to go to the big picture, all right? I want to just talk about the big picture. And I want you to just play with me once and play with the scene once and think of this. Cindy, I really want you to think about how a mother still treats her son like he's a young boy.
Ah,
Okay, like he's a little boy, like he's never grown up.
okay.
Okay, and that's how I want you to feel, Vasily. Is you've been with her son your whole life. You've made a lot of really tough decisions, and she still treats you like a little boy.
And it's annoying.
It's not only annoying, it just it just hurts. It's just the dynamic has never.
It's annoying. There's so the complex of all those feelings. Yeah.
Right. I got a lot of other specific notes, but I didn't write them down because I want to do this one exercise with you first. I want you to go through the whole scene one more time. And I want you to think of yourself as younger now, much younger, Vasily, okay? It's not what the result is going to be. It's only a game to play through it. And I want you to now that he's younger, I want you to speak to him like he is your child, right? That you don't have to be angry at him. You have to shame him. You have to put him in his place, right? I want you to think of that. I want you to think of the mother-daughter dynamic, the mother-son dynamic, whatever, that's what I want you to really focus on. You must have conversations with your mother, right?
Oh, please.
I hear them and they're not even in English, and I can tell.
Yeah, right. What about you, Cindy? You have conversations with your mother?
Well, my mom died in 1988, but I did have those, yes.
Yeah. And did you ever have conversations with her where you felt like you were 12 years old?
Sure, and especially with my grandmother even.
Yeah, so what I want you to try to do is to just try to put him in his place as your mother, okay? And I want you to feel much younger and much more vulnerable because of that age. Always wanting to please, but not being able to please. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yahoo, Mrs. Bloom. It's safe to come out. David and Ann went for a walk and we've got the whole place to fight in.
Enjoy yourself. I'm going to bed.
My, I'm sorry, I lost my temper.
Ah, I'm glad you're sorry.
Please come out here. We can't talk like this.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight. But I don't fight with my children. In your life, did you ever hear your father and I fight? No. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because in all my childhood, I listened to fights. My father fought with my mother. My mother fought with my brother. My mother fought with me. When I married your father, I told him, Jack, I'll talk, but I won't fight.
But I want to go back. I want you to do that speech now, and I want you to do it from your experience. Don't do it. In other words, I want you to, you're using a specific experience from your childhood. And I want to feel that experience. I want you to speak the lines from that experience, Cindy, not use that experience as a dramatic example.
My childhood or her childhood?
Well, her childhood.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Yeah.
You don't want to talk. You want to fight. But I don't fight with my children. In your life, did you ever hear your father and I fight? No. And you know why? I'll tell you why. Because all my childhood, I listened to fights. My father fought with my mother. My mother fought with my brother. My mother fought with me. When I married your father, I told him, Jack, I'll talk, but I won't fight. Did you ever hear us fight? No. And now you know why.
You want to sit down?
I'm sitting.
All right.
And don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler. And you've already said quite enough.
And don't holler at me, right? Talk to your son. And don't holler at me, right? In other words, he's your son. It's not like, and don't holler at me like he's your boyfriend.
Right.
It's like, and don't holler at me. I'm your mother.
Okay.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you might even use that just to play in this game that we're playing. I'm your mother. This is what you do. You might throw that in as a sub vocalization or as a vocalization, like the fuck exercise. Just remember, I'm your mother. This is what it is. Use that a little bit so that we start to get what this is a little bit more. All right. Nice work, Vasily. You're feeling even younger, but and I think that's the whole point, is that she makes him feel like he's never grown up, like he's never had his own life, like he's never been able to make his own decision. All right, here we go, mother. Go ahead, mother.
I'm your mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler, and you've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. It just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss, Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you already know, and we will go from there.
Good. Now, Vasily, when she says so discuss, right? She says she has that moment. I think the character has to make a move to start to discuss, but realize, where do I start? And then he's got to change that into the dialogue that you just said. But there's a process that you're missing there. When she says, why don't you just start? Automatically think that you can just start, and then realize before you say a word that you don't know what word to say first, so that comes from there. All right.
Okay.
Go back a line or two and set me up. Much better, Cindy. Almost say, I'm your mother. Shut up. I'm your mother. Tell me. I want you to keep playing with that idea. All right.
Okay.
All right. Keep going.
I'm your mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler. You've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. It's just a hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you already know? And
Great, Vasily.
we'll
Absolutely
go
great.
from there.
That was great. That was just great. That was just great. And then you manipulated that moment. In other words, you were caught in that moment of confusion. I just saw shit going on into your mind. Like, well, there's where I want you to fire from, as opposed to then you sort of calm that shit down and then start it again. No, use that shit to get you to the next place, because that's what's actually happening to you.
Right.
All right. One more time. Same spot. I'm your mother. Tell them what to do. You're the mother.
I'm your mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler, and you've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. It just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you
One more time. You blew it out. Don't blow it out. Don't blow it out. Use it. That's the whole point. In other words, you want to hold it. It felt uncomfortable. It was horrible, right? Don't use it. Use it. Don't blow it out. Don't try to make it comfortable. It was horribly uncomfortable. Do it again. Mother, I'm your mother. I'm your fucking mother. And go.
I'm your mother. Don't holler at me.
Don't play with that. I'm your fucking mother. Don't holler at me. Do that.
Not your fucking mother. Don't holler at me.
Yes, Cindy. Do that again and start it again. Go.
Well, let me ask you, what was yes? What did you like about that?
I'm your fucking mother. Don't holler at me. That's as close as you've come to her.
Oh, okay.
All right. It was so fucking. I'm your fucking mother. Don't holler at me.
I'm your
Right.
fucking mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler. You've already said quite enough.
Okay, I won't holler. You just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you already know, and we'll go from there.
I don't know anything.
You spent the day with him, he must have said something.
So Cindy, I don't know anything. What does a mother know? I know nothing. Right? What does a mother know? I know nothing. This is part of who she is, right? Nice, nice, Vasily. Yes, you didn't know what you were going to do, and then it came out of that. That was absolutely great. One more time, and then we'll continue on further. I'm your fucking mother.
I'm your fucking mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler. You've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. Just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Alan, only David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you already know and we'll go from there?
I don't know anything.
Well, you spent the day with him. He must have said something.
Let me think. He's an orphan.
He's not an orphan.
He said he's an orphan.
Well, he's not. He was a battered child. They took him away from his parents. This is his third foster home. The first brought him back. The second he ran away from. So
Oh, so he's a liar.
he's not a liar.
This isn't going to work.
Come on, we're finally getting somewhere.
How do you expect me to sit here and discuss this insanity?
All right, this is not going to work.
Arnold, what do you know from raising a child?
What's to know? Whenever I have a problem, I simply imagine how you would solve it, and I do opposite.
Good. Now, I just want to point out to you that up to this point, everything that you've replied to her has been based on an emotional feeling, because that is an emotional reaction that you give your mother. You're not thinking about that. That is something that you've thought in your mind as a child, your whole childhood. And this is the first time you've ever fucking articulated it, because you're in an emotional state and you need to do something to defend yourself. Right? And you pull out a line that's been in your whole life, but you don't think when you say it, it just comes out.
Right.
It's not a thought, and it's a really hurtful line. If you had thought about that line, you never would have said it. So what that's saying to me is that everything there before is just all laid up in this mother-son emotion, and you still don't know where you are. You're still lost, and you're so tired of being lost with your mother that you say something that you've been sub-vocalizing all of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then it just comes out as a total accident.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go back to the same spot. I'm your fucking mother one more time, because I want to work back to it. Keep working on that, Cindy. It's absolutely working. All right, keep playing with that. And
I'm your fucking mother. Don't holler at me. People say things they don't mean when they holler. You've already said quite enough.
I won't holler. I just hit a raw nerve. We won't discuss Ellen on the David.
So discuss.
Why don't you tell me what you already know and we'll go from there?
I don't know anything.
Well, you spent the day with him. You must have said something.
Let me think. He's an orphan.
He is not an orphan.
He said he was an orphan.
Well, he is not. He was a battered child. They took him away from his parents. This is his third foster home. The first brought him back. The second he ran away from. So
he's a liar.
he's not a liar.
This isn't going to work.
Come on, we're finally getting somewhere.
How do you expect me to sit here and discuss this insanity?
You're right, it's not going to work.
Arnold, what do you know from raising a child?
What's to know? Whenever I have a problem, I simply imagine how you would solve it and do the opposite.
let's go back to Arnold, right? Arnold, that's your son. Arnold, what the fuck do you know about raising a child, right? That's the mother. It's like, what do you think you're doing? I mean, not only do I know you're gay, but you're out trying to influence another young man. I mean, Arnold,
Right.
Arnold, you're my son. I'm your fucking mother. Arnold, what the fuck are you doing? Right? You got to be that woman, that mother. And here we go. Arnold.
But she's also speaking to him like a child.
Well, yes, Arnold.
It's like
Arnold.
nagging. It's
Yes.
like nagging.
It's like,
Oh,
right, it's Arnold, you're my boy. What the fuck? How could you do this? What do you know?
okay. Arnold, what do you know from raising a child?
What's to know? Whenever I have a problem, I simply imagine how you would solve it, and I do opposite.
Is this what you invited me here for? To insult me and spit on your father's grave?
Great. And Cindy, I just want to say to you that hit home. When he did that, that really hit you home. And you had that moment, and you should have spoken from that moment as
Oh.
opposed to re-manipulating, right? You had it. Both of you, both of you are dealing with moments that are really truthful, and you're not taking advantage of that. One more time, same spot.
Arnold, what do you know from raising a child?
What's to know? Whenever I have a problem, I simply imagine how you would solve it, and I do the opposite.
Is this what you invited me up here for? To insult me and spit on your father's grave?
For crying out, will you please sit down?
Don't holler. I'm sitting. I don't know why, but I'm
Don't holler, I'm your mother. Go.
sitting. Don't holler. I'm your mother. I'm sitting. I don't know why, but I'm sitting.
All right. Now we're going to talk about David, not Alan, not Daddy, just David, and we're going to stay calm.
Huh.
I give up.
Arnold, darling, open your eyes. Don't you see how ridiculous this is? I've been here less than a day. Already I've seen you let him miss school, hang out on the street, go out without dinner.
This is hardly a typical day.
You want to talk or make excuses?
Already I've seen him what? Already I've seen him what? It's a bad thing. I've seen him what? It's a bad thing. Already I've seen him what? All three of those things are a list of bad things that he did. Already I've seen, go.
Arnold, darling, open your eyes. Don't you see how ridiculous this is? I've been here less than a day. Already I've seen you let him miss school, hang out on the street, go out without dinner.
This is a hardly typical day.
You want to talk or make excuses?
This isn't little Lord Fauntleroy we're talking about here. If this kid decides I was coming down to do hard on him, he'd pack and take off, and I'd never get him back again. That sweet-looking little boy knows how to make more money in a night than you and I can make in a week.
So you let him run wild?
No, but I don't beat him up either. I teach him, I advise him, I try to set an example for him.
Some example. Arnold, look, you live the life you want. I put my fist in my mouth. I don't say a word. This is what you want. But think about the boy. He likes you. He told me he loves you. He sees you living like this. Don't you think it's going to affect him?
Ma, David's gay.
And he's only been here 6 months.
He came this way.
No one comes that way.
What an opening.
By you, everything is a joke.
Don't you understand? The whole purpose of placing him here was for him to grow up with a positive attitude about his homosexuality.
That's it. I'm finished. The world has gone completely mad, and I'm heading south for the summer.
You make it very difficult to have an intelligent conversation.
You want an intelligent conversation? Do what I do. Talk to yourself. It's the only way.
You think this is easy for me? Look, my hands are shaking. I've been like this for days, knowing you'd be coming and we'd have to talk about this.
Yeah, because you knew I'd show you how wrong you were.
I'm not wrong.
No? Tell me something. How old was your friend Alan when you met him?
17.
17. 17, and you were doing God knows what together. Now tell me, how old is this son of yours?
I have no intention of sleeping with him. Is that what you're driving at?
Oh, well, I had no intention of having a homosexual for a son, so look where intentions get you. Arnold, do what you want. You want to live like this, gay Gesundheit. I don't care anymore. But you're not going to make me sick like you did your father.
I made father sick?
Oh, no, he was thrilled to have a fairy for a son. You took a lifetime of dreams and threw them back in his face.
What life of dreams? He knew I was gay for 14 years.
Oh, what, you think you walk into a room, you say, hi, Dad, I'm queer, and that's it? You think that's what we brought you into this world for? Believe me, if I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered. God, you tear out my tongue. I should talk to my child this way. Arnold, you're my son. You're a good person, a sensitive person with a heart, Kenahara, like your father. And I try to love you for that and forget this, but you won't let me. You've got to throw me on the ground and rub my face in it. You haven't spoken a sentence since I got here without the word gay in it.
Because that's what I am.
If that were all, you could leave it in there where it belongs, in private. But no, you're obsessed by it. You're not happy unless everyone is talking about it. I don't know why you don't just wear a big sign and get it over with.
I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. I'm not trying to throw it in the face, but this is what it is I am. And it's not just me, a matter of who I sleep with. Ma, try to imagine the world the other way around. Imagine that every movie, book, magazine, TV show, newspaper, commercial, billboard told you that you should be homosexual. But you know you're not, and you know that for you, this is just right.
Already, you're talking crazy.
You want to know what's crazy? That after all these years, I'm still here justifying my life. That's what it's crazy.
You call this a life? This is a sickness. This is what you've chosen for yourself.
Ma, look, I'm gay. I don't know why. I don't think anyone does, but that's what I am. For as far as back as I can remember, back before I knew it was different or wrong or...
You have not heard a word I've said.
I know you'd rather I was straight, but I am not. Would you also rather I had lied to you? My friends all think I'm crazy for telling you. I never dream of telling their parents. They'd never dream of telling their parents. Instead, they cut their parents out of their lives. And the parents wonder, why are my children so distant? Is that what you'd rather?
But it doesn't have to be our every conversation either.
You want a part of my life. I'm not going to edit it out, the things you don't like.
Can we end this conversation?
No, there is one more thing you've got to understand. You made fun of my crocheting before. You think it's a cute little effeminate thing I do. Let me tell you something. I have taught myself to sew, cook, fix plumbing, do taxes, build furniture. I can even pat myself on the back when necessary. Also, I don't have to ask anyone for anything. There is nothing I need from anyone except love and respect. And anyone who can give me those two things has no place in my life. You're my mother, and I love you. I do. But if you can't respect me, then you got no business being here.
You're throwing me out.
Oh God, what I'm trying to say.
Throwing me out. Isn't that nice? Listen, mister, you get one mother in this world, only one. Wait, you just wait.
Good. That was a fun experiment. I like that. I think we all learned something from that, don't
Wait till
you?
your father gets home.
Yes, yes.
You
Here's
know
a
what?
cut. Yeah.
Bill, that was hard, you know, because I certainly experience, it's much easier. I think what I realized, what I did before what we were just experimenting, it would be much easier for me to expel that anger, out of me, to throw it out, right?
Yeah.
But yet, I have to hold it back.
Yes.
And
All your life.
and fight this and that. And I mean, it's, when you ask, just put yourself when you were, much younger, when you're a teenager.
Right.
It's not, I mean, I remember, and yet at some point it's really painful, and yet it could be, you might forget it and yet not. It's very complex.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, first of all, you don't come off like you're a young teenager, but that's where your head was at. And that's the important thing. That's what it feels like to him. It feels like they've known you've been gay for so long and they still haven't dealt with it. Nobody has dealt with it. Even your friends can't deal with it. Nobody's done. And it's just, there's three beats, right? the first beat is you really feeling like a kid, right?
Yeah.
Really feeling it. And then there's a point where you say, this is crazy. You say something like that, Vasily, what is that?
You want to know what's crazy? That after all these years, I'm still here justifying
Right, all right,
my
so-
life. That's
right.
what is crazy.
Right, all right. So there's the beginning. That's a beat change of feeling like the victim of the child. This is you now. The beat change is you standing up for yourself, right? Right, that's the beat change. And then it goes to the final beat change on top of that, which is, yeah, I fucking crochet, right? This is who I am, right? So that it even goes to the point where you're proud of what she was making fun of you
Right.
about before. So that it starts, there's the progression for you in this scene. You start out feeling like a 12-year-old boy, and you end up like a man who's standing up for himself, who has his own life, and that's what it is.
Right. Mhm.
Okay, that's the progression that you got to play with. Cindy, 17, God knows what. And you were 17 and doing God knows what. That's got to sound like such a judgmental line. It's got to be dirty. It's got to be, I mean, the word gay upsets you, you know? So the idea of what gay men do together is just, it's very 70s, but hello, that's where we are. I mean, it's very early 70s. It's actually, you know, I mean, really. And then there's, Cindy, there are laws. Part of, you say something, part of our conversation. Is that right? What is that? Part of our conversation.
Part of our conversation?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
There are
This-
laws?
It's somewhere after he says, this is crazy. Go from, this is crazy. Go right from there.
God.
Okay, where is that?
Oh my God. Did I lose it?
What's crazy Arnold stuff that you're talking?
Oh, yeah. You want to know? It's page 5.
5?
Yeah, 5 on PDF.
Okay, so this is the beginning of you beginning to stand up for yourself, not feeling like from the child. This is you going from the child to beginning to become an
Ah.
adult.
Okay, I got it.
All right, started from that beat change. Here we go.
I think, can I start it in like a line before?
Yes, please.
Okay.
But that's the Arnold stop already. You're talking that one?
I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. I'm not trying to throw it in your face, but it is what I am. And it's not just a matter of who I sleep with. Ma, try to imagine the world the other way around. Imagine that every movie, book, magazine, TV show, newspaper, commercial, billboard told you that you should be homosexual, but you know you're not, and you know that for you this is right.
Arnold, stop already. You're talking crazy.
You want to know what's crazy? That after all these years, I'm still here justifying my life. That's what is crazy.
You call this a life? This is a sickness. But this is what you've chosen for yourself.
Ma, look, I'm gay. I don't know why. I don't think anyone does, but that's what I am. For as far as back as I can remember, back before I knew it was different or wrong.
You have not heard a word I've said.
I know you'd rather I was straight, but I am not. Would you also rather I had lied to you? My friends, all my friends think I'm crazy for telling you they'd never dream of telling their parents. Instead, they cut their relationship out of their lives. And the parents wonder, why are my children so distant? Is that what you'd rather?
But it doesn't have to be our every conversation either.
That's right. That's the line. But it doesn't have to be part of our every conversation. That's a law. That's a law. In other words,
law?
there's laws. There's laws. In other words, this is a sickness. That's a law. This doesn't have to be part of our everyday conversation, right? The mother has a series of laws of the way life should be. You have to think
Okay.
about that, and you have to find the laws for her.
Yeah, is it like she's got her own principles?
Absolutely.
And it's also the whole paragraph where she said, I try to do this and forget that, you won't let me. You have to rub my face in it.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's I want, and you have to rub your face in it, right? It's a law. Right. That's what you need to work towards.
This is it, but it doesn't have to be our every conversation either.
Yeah. And make that a law, not something you're trying to convince him of.
Okay.
All right?
Mhm.
Okay. Nice work, you guys. Nice work tonight.
Oh,
I know it's exhausting, isn't it? Mother and sons. Oh my God. Oh my God. Come on back, everybody.
Yeah.
Good. So you know what I mean? It didn't make Vasily any younger, him imagining himself being younger, but what it did was put him back into that thing. I mean, he didn't seem any younger, but that's why you can use silly little secrets like that and little games inside of your own head that nobody else will know what's going on, but it'll translate as confusion as to the fact that I don't know who I am anymore. I'm 30 years old and I don't know who I am, stuff like that. It'll transfer very nicely for you guys.
You're not on screen. Did you know that?
Who's that?
You.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, wait. Thank God I always keep the mute off though, right? I mean, I sort of like that I can kind of coach you without coming on screen and that you guys can hear me do that. Julie, are you still here? You're here, right? Yep. I'll take that as a no. Okay. Anyway, is there anything else anybody wants to work on tonight before we close her off? Are we good? We good? Leora, what about you? Were you going to say something? No? Okay.
No, I was just having fun watching because I have a 24-year-old son.
Oh. So you understand the mother conversation, right?
I would never talk that way to my son.
That's the thing. You said talk to him like he's your child.
I know.
I'm your fucking mother.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that to a child.
Yeah, but a mother who grew up in the 40s, who went through the Holocaust, who went through all of the stuff that they went through, that, it's a different era.
Yeah.
I mean, your parents come from a different era, right, Cindy? Right? I mean, they had a different thought process, and you've got to take yourself back to that place, not think of it in contemporary terms. It seems brutal and it seems harsh, but no, my mother and my father had a way of doing things. This is the way it's done. It's not like this is the way it's done. It's like this is the way it's done. Okay. There was no negotiation in the conversation. That's what that dynamic really depicts. No negotiation.
How much is she sort of like the grandmother in it's not Lost in Yonkers?
No, the grandmother in Lost in Yonkers is much more no, not at all.
Heart knows, but she was just trying to teach her children.
Yeah, but yes, that aspect, yes, absolutely. But it's not as, this is actually, strangely enough, you're a much more this character is much more liberated than the grandmother in Lost in Yonkers, right? So in that regard, is she's somewhat changeable, but that is a nice model to go by. Yes, that's sort of hardcore. I can't get through it, and that's sort of the frustration that the son is feeling, is that he can't break through the walls of her laws. He can't break through her laws, and he finally does. I mean, he finally does. That's the nice thing about that play. I loved that was my favorite thing. It's the one thing I remember about that production, other than the huge bed with 3 men in it, was the other thing that I remembered was I loved the relationship with the mother. It was absolutely terrific.
Well,
Even though I could tell she loved him to death, but didn't know how to in a contemporary sense. That's the thing. You've got to hold on to the old-fashioned sense of our parents and love them for that, right?
But the interesting thing is she says Alan 17, he says Alan 17. We're looking it up in the script, and in the beginning of the Fugue for a Nursery, it says Alan's 18 and Arnold is 25.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he tell her he was 17 when the book says he's 18? Unless they met before Fugue in a Nursery.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't speak to. It might be a misprint. It might have been something that they overlooked that he missed.
And my first thought was 17. He's messing with a minor. How old is Arnold?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe he's talking about when he first met him was because it's been going on, what, 6 months?
How long was it, Vasily, that they were together before he got killed?
I think 6, 7 months, and then they moved in together. And that the day when they were moving together, they killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got gay bashed when they were moving in.
Yeah. Okay. I wish I knew the answer to that, but I would go with 17. I think that makes it dangerous. And I think from the mother's point of view, that's like verboten. No, absolutely no. What, he's what? There you go. No, it just gives you that reason. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, I think we saw some of the best work that we've seen so far tonight, and you should all be really pleased and proud with that. And I hope you enjoy the replays. And I'll see you all next week.
Yep.
Have a good one. I hope we'll
Thank
get
you.
Catalina back next week, hopefully.
Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank
all
you
right.
all.
Bye.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill.
Good night, all.
Good night, you guys. Great
Night.
job.
Yeah.